No, you're going to be up here. Because the speakers are going to be here, and you're moderating from up there. That was in my email. Okay. Right, but they can manage which mic is active. Okay, you want to be down here too? Okay, all right. Is this too high? It seems high. I'm sure it feels high. It feels like it's in my face. That's what I mean. So if people are looking, they're looking at the mic. Okay, and we are. You want to make sure people can be heard. I'm pretty loud, aren't I? Not really? Not really? Okay, good to know. I thought I was. It's just still in my face, but anyway. Well, then you opened before me. Dan is here.
By way of chalice reading, I make up my own words. Blessed are we that come together in community to this most sacred rite as Unitarian Universalists, the exercise of our democracy as a congregation, reaching back to the Cambridge platform of 1560 or 1658. This is a time for us to be together, to share our thoughts respectfully with love and compassion in our hearts, and to direct the future of our beloved church. It is good to be together.
I'm Roderick Wolfson, and I call this meeting to order as your moderator. I appreciated Kathy's framing of the meeting in the service, that we're a democracy, and this is our opportunity to approve the budget, the leadership nominations, and the covenant. The hard work to get to this point has been done by the board and by the covenant committee and the nominating committee. So first we'll have reports, first by our president, Barbara Colton.
I'm short. I need to lower it. Can you hear me? Welcome, and thank you all for, wow, we have a great crowd today. Thank you all for staying for this annual meeting. It's wonderful to have a chance to talk and kind of end the year together. I don't know about you, but I just felt like a ton of energy out in the hall and in the fireside room. The spirit is high here. The energy is good. We have visitors, new members. We're growing. It feels good. We've had a good year and a meaningful one. Thank you. We say we're seeking, as a congregation, we're a congregation seeking to be grounded in love and working for justice. And that's the heart of this developmental ministry. It's all about working to more fully live our values here as a community and out in the wider community. And in shared ministry, we have accomplished a lot. One of the important areas of growth has been the way we welcome in worship, in our programs, in our communications, in the way people walk into the building. And it's more and more reflecting our entire congregation. We've had people throughout the congregation as storytellers, as musicians, as singers, as giving sermons, and sharing stories with us at different points in the year. And one of the most clearest examples of this was when the Welcoming Congregation group with Yvette put together a very special service. I think it was in the fall, and brought a sense of understanding and an opportunity to share a little bit more about who they are in their stories and in their songs, and with their joy and their color. So that is being authentic and being who you are, and if not, that is a great example of welcome. This year has also been about welcome in terms of visibly showing it in our physical spaces. You all have seen it, the changes that we've made in the rooms, in the atrium, in the lobby, and in the fireside. They're not just about doing maintenance for the building. It's been about creating spaces that welcome not only those of us that are here, but for those that are looking to find a home. From all different generations and all different backgrounds. We've cared for rooms that have not been well cared for, and that's also an expression of the values that we take care of not only each other, but of the resources that we have. We've also, as you know, did some work redesigning the layout. We shuffled things around with the idea of really trying to focus in on the relationships and who we are, with more time to connect, converse, meet some of the people you normally don't spend time with during coffee hour, and be flexible, be able to move things around to accommodate what we need now and in the future. Now, I'll be honest, I know some of you have loved what has been done, and some of you have not. And I just wanted to be honest about that and transparent. So, I also want to thank especially the people who put in the time, and I mean a lot of time and the effort to make all that happen. This includes Reverend John, Francis Morehouse, who is in the back corner, Griselda, who's also in the back corner, Bonnie Marzolf, Carolyn Yeager, Ron Lasagna, Ron, I'll just say Ron, and David Hucker, and those of you who've helped in various ways. There was a lot of work. It's been 10 years since we did improvements in this building, and it is possible, it's been possible thanks to the generosity of our members more than 10 years ago, drawing from a special reserve set aside to take care of this place. I want to make a special thanks to Reverend John and Francis, because what you might not also know or have seen is the work they have done in our basement over the last 2 weeks. If you haven't been down there, I don't blame you. It has been a jungle of equipment, abandoned supplies, and things we don't even know what. And they have spent the last several weeks, nights, crack of dawn, sorting, clearing, hauling away, and cleaning up and organizing what we have in the basement. This is true generosity of time and effort, and I just want us to give a special round of applause and thanks for the dedication of our minister and his wife. I think David Hucker will be giving tours starting in the fall of the basement. Part of what we've been learning is that space shapes experience. The restroom renovation has taken a lot longer than we expected, as you know. We've had to navigate and learn more than we thought we needed to, about building codes, accessibility requirements, and the constraints of this particular older building. But beyond those challenges, the restroom also became a concrete example of larger questions and conversations about welcome, trust, and belonging. For some of our transgender and non-binary folks, and for LGBT people in general, restrooms are not a neutral space. They can be a place of anxiety, uncertainty, or exclusion. Signage matters, layout matters, everyday details matter. Belonging is shaped not only by major decisions we make, by the small and practical signals that we give on an everyday basis. They are what help to make people feel expected, safe, and at home here. We had multiple conversations and over time developed a path forward. This fall, we plan to have a service and educational opportunities so that we can more carefully learn and understand about our LGBT members and better understand how our life together can more clearly communicate that they belong here. And yes, we will finish the restroom renovation this fall. Our work on right relations, you've heard about, has been another way of becoming more intentional about how we live together. Right relations asks us to think about more seriously about how we speak to one another, how we listen to each other when there are differences, and how we respond when there's conflict or harm. We're a congregation of more than 500 people, different experiences, different generations, and different histories. This right relations work really matters. The board is grateful to the Right Relations Covenant team for the work that they've done over the last year and a half. And I want to especially thank Carol again, wherever Carol is, right in front of me, for the work that she has led and the team that has been involved in this project. Rick and Margot and Kim and was there one other? And Nanda, who's not here, right, thank you. We're also seeing more intentionality in our justice work, and one of the great examples of our deepening relationship with Family Promise, the development of our housing justice team, Lloyd, and the evolution of our human needs ministry, which is engaging more people in our congregation work for justice. The work and the partnership with TLC for the People and others are all foundations for the work of our new social justice director going forward. There are many ways to participate in justice, and one that really struck me was a meeting that the Human Needs Ministry team just had recently, and the way the team did such a lovely job of inviting those who haven't been involved in justice work before to take a baby step, to take one step and begin that work, and to see the response. It was wonderful. Justice work is about generosity. Generosity of our values, generosity of our time, and our willingness to work with others. That same generosity is visible in the way we support each other with our time, talent, and financial resources. As you know, the board has chosen to use some of our resources, some of our reserves, to help fund the growth of this developmental ministry. Our pledges this year, up till as of yesterday, were about $744,000, a little bit shy, and very strong of our original goal of $800,000, but we still have some of you who may still be holding and still have 2 weeks left to get your pledges in for this year. We've strengthened our financial management. We've done all sorts of things to create more transparency, and there's more work that we can do to do that better. But I just want to underscore, we've been using these reserves. And the reserves are meant as a bridge. They're not the permanent solution. So as part of our work to ensure the sustainability of this congregation, we're going to be doing some work with an outside consultant to better develop the kinds of work we need to do and processes for stewardship for this congregation, so that we all know that we share in the work ahead and growth for this church. Your generosities have helped fuel this congregation. Some of you more than others have been doing this a long time, and it is with profound gratitude that I thank you for that work. There are many other forms of care that we give, other than the ones that I've outlined so far. I want to make a mention, we have our safety team that has been working behind the scenes to review the way we make sure that in the event of an emergency, we have the policies, procedures, and responsibilities and training in place so that we can take care of each other. And I wanted to also just highlight out the beautiful and sometimes quieter work that the Memorial Services team does to take care and to be there to comfort and care for people at times when they're most vulnerable. This is all great work, and it all takes all of us together to make it possible. And so it is with gratitude from everyone on the board that we thank you and say that the work is not done. Adult faith development, generosity, shared ministry, all these are going to be critical to help us all give ourselves so that the work is shared, the responsibility shared, and that we're able to continue to grow. So with that, I just say a big thank you, and thank you for your time.
So I'm completing my third year with you as your Shared Development Senior Minister. As was announced several weeks ago, I guess now I have agreed to the additional year of ministry, so that will now end in 2029. So we're literally at the halfway point of the ministry together, and I want to report on the 5 developmental goals, a little bit of a recap of what's in my written report. You can find that on our website, but also adding a little bit, our shared ministry, I think, has been our greatest accomplishment. We've adopted this model. It's highly collaborative. The important decisions are now made by myself and the board, sometimes with myself and the exec. I will say that there is a lot of communication now with other lay leaders, so we're beginning to get a lot of cross-communication, not only by the depth of the communication, but by the breadth of the communication. Fewer surprises. There's always surprises, but fewer surprises. And I also want to say that the staff, which I will thank more in a little minute here, are incredible in their ability to manage shared ministry in a collaborative manner. I will say that our growth systems are largely in place, although we have more work to do. And I really want to thank the congregational engagement team, which is led by Deidre Gordon, who have systematically improved the path to membership. It's clear from the greeting on a Sunday to the engaging you get in small group ministries and the opportunities that Bill D'Agostino, as our communication manager, makes sure you know about. I'd also say the massive outreach that Bill's been able to do through his social media work is really paying off, and you're seeing people walk in the doors for the first time, largely because they saw us on social media. We've had roughly 23 members join this year, and this came from a sustained effort to try to make sure that they were engaged and also educated. So our starting point classes have been very instrumental that Dawn Starr and I have been leading. Our adult membership now stands at 523 members, friends. We are once again a large church. Fostering a culture of inclusion. Friends, you know religion is changing. We see this all the time. Fewer and fewer young people find spiritual needs being met within congregational life. But that doesn't mean they won't come. And what we do know is that the way we connect spiritually with people is also changing. So we've been experimenting with different forms of worship, much more multi-generational worship, much more moving around, lots of talking to each other. You've seen that. Of course, the music is incredible. The music, whoops, we died here. Come back. Is this on? A little louder, please. All right. I don't know if I've mentioned our tech team. They're all of this is meant we've attracted more families, and that, of course, is the centerpiece to how we will grow into the future. Our congregation is not just the people who show up on Sunday. Coming over the threshold is not the only measure of our success. We measure our success by how well we are connecting with others in the community and how we are showing up for those groups that are doing the hard work. We're trying to improve, and I think we have improved generational transitions. I think in part this is because of the new music that we've done, the multi-generational stuff, but also I think the work that Dawn Starr has brought on, Anaya, who you heard from today, fabulous, fabulous young woman doing amazing work with our youth. I think we're growing in our public presence. This is an area that needs more work, which of course is why Reverend Lisa will be joining us, responding to the work that is before us. I am happy to say that I am now on the board of trustees for UU Justice PA, and I'm also a co-moderator for the local Interfaith Alliance group here on the Upper Main Line. None of this would have happened without you, friends. None of this. All of what we do depends on your participation as we become more engaged as citizens of our congregation and not consumers of our congregation. I want to thank our amazing staff, the staff now operating at full capacity with addition Reverend Lisa, who you heard from earlier, but also Yvette last year as a ministerial intern and her job as congregational life coordinator. I want to thank David Brown. Why don't you stand up, David? And I want to thank Jody, who's at the piano every single Sunday. Caitlin's not here, we thank her too, but Caroline as well, the whole Brown family. I feel so blessed to be able to work with these folks. Sam, of course, and the volunteers in the back. Jay, the year before, helping Sam. Sam is here as a multi-generational member of the congregation that took this role in staffing. And at the end of the month, we will be memorializing his grandmother who just passed away. So you can see the breadth and the length of generations here. I want to thank Anaya Coop, who was here earlier. I don't think, Anaya, are you still in the room? No, but she's left for the day. But do tell her she did a great job on Sunday. I think that means a lot. Griselda, of course, holds the whole thing together. Griselda, I know you're here. And Bill D'Agostino for all the work that he's done. It's just amazing. Yvette McDonald has officially completed her ministerial internship. She's scheduled to go before the Ministerial Fellowship Committee in December on her way to becoming a minister. In the meantime, she's our congregational care coordinator for the coming year, full-time. Yvette has transformed the way we do pastoral ministry here. Yvette, I'd like you to take a bow if you're in the room. There you are. You don't often see Bill Mullins unless you're here on a Wednesday when he does all the bills. Bill's very quiet, but a wonderful worker, and the way everything gets done in accounting and things get paid is all due to Bill. And I want to thank him. Wonderful work, Bill. And I, of course, have to thank Ron D'Annunzio. Ronnie, are you in the room anywhere? No, of course, he's not out working. Come on. And if Eddie and Tommy are there, bring them out too. Come on, come on. All right, you know what? Doing what he does. We've had incredible child care staff over the years. Unfortunately, I don't know all their names. I'm so embarrassed. But I know one of them was one of our Bridgers. So there's Ronnie. He's in the back. Let's give him a round of applause. Acknowledging, of course, all the many leaders of all the different groups, I don't know, the 58 committees that are part of this congregation. Would be here all day, but of course I see it every Sunday. I see it during the week. I see our ushers, our greeters, the folks who make sure things happen. It's just amazing how we've been able to do it. I've thanked Barbara before, but I thank her again for her ministry and her leadership over these last 2 years. Whenever you're making change, it is always going to be hard. That's just the way it is. And often leaders are not thanked for the work they do. They see that we see change, we don't understand change, or we disagree with the change, and we often personify it towards the leader and take it from somebody who's been doing this a long time. I can tell you it's not pleasant, but you have held out, you've been strong, you have been faithful, and you have been our president. Thank you, Barbara. And I don't do this often. I know she won't like to hear it from me right now, but you know, none of this happens without Frances. If you haven't figured that part out yet. We've been working side by side in ministry, sometimes, and she's been in a paid role as a religious educator and sometimes not, for 36 years. 36 years we've been doing this. We've served 5 congregations. And I have to say, after 41 years of marriage, I've had the privilege to say that I found the love of my life working side by side with the work that we love. I simply couldn't do this without her. Thank you. So where are we going from here? We got a lot to do, a lot more than 3 years before I transition you to your next settled senior minister. I'm hoping we continue to work on a culture of inclusion where we invite more and more people. We deal with conflict more proactively. The covenant that we're going to talk about and ratify here in a little bit, I think that's an example of that work. We need to be more intentional about inviting the younger generation in. We have to work on engagement, especially with leadership and develop leadership. We're going to be working on that in the fall, some leadership development work. I'm particularly concerned, as I know the board and the finance committee are, about our financial sustainability over the long run. This is a big place. It's an expensive place. Our budget's over $1 million a year. We need all the help we can get. And it is my goal to try to provide some guidance for financial stewardship that doesn't just rest on the shoulders of the members of the congregation. Finding models that are cooperative with social entrepreneurs or socially conscious entrepreneurs is part of my mission here, and you'll hear more about that as time unrolls. I want to expand our understanding of ministry more in every way. I know we are large enough to have a second minister, and I know we sort of did that by bringing in Reverend Lisa, and now Yvette is going to be a candidate for our ministry. But what I'm talking about eventually, and it may come after I'm gone, you really need a second minister. You know this, those of you who've been here a long time will remember a solo senior minister over a congregation over 500 is a hard model. It'll be hard to find somebody to follow me, and I want to be sure that we're in a good place when I leave here. And I want to nurture a culture of generosity. A culture of generosity isn't just in what we give, but it's the gratitude for the giving, right? It's the gratitude that we give for the people who are doing the giving. And we've had incredible gifts this year, time and talent and treasure. People who've given tens of thousands of dollars towards our innovation work, which we'll be expanding on this year. All of that comes from a culture of gratitude and generosity. It's one that I'm hoping we can really embolden and embed within our culture here, and I know we can do it. I say this with all honesty, my friends. I say this with all honesty. Never have I worked with a more dedicated and loving congregation of the 5 congregations I've served. You have so much to be proud of and so much more to offer incoming generations. Let our journey continue in faith and in love. Thank you for the privilege of serving you.
Before I call up Carrie Reif, let me assure you I've been informed by the board secretary, Susan Tackow, that we far exceed the quorum, so I'm very happy about that, and we have 6 absentee votes already in. So here from the nominating committee, Carrie Reif.
Hey guys, before Carrie talks about nominating and the new board members, I wanted to just do a quick from the board. Deep gratitude and appreciation for Barbara Colton and Deirdre Gordon, outgoing president and vice president of the board. Their years of faithful service to Mainline Unitarian Church, their dedication, thoughtful leadership, and unwavering commitment have helped strengthen our congregation and guide our community with wisdom, compassion, and integrity. Though both through challenges and celebrations, they have generously shared their time and talent, leaving a lasting, meaningful impact on our church family. And on a more personal note, it's been a true pleasure working with you over the past year. It's been my first year on the board. The encouragement and shared vision have helped us make remarkable progress. Together, we've come a long way in accomplishing our developmental goals, as Rev. John said, and the foundation that you've built will help our congregation for years to come. So we wish you the very best. Thank you very much. Thanks, guys.
Hello, everyone. My name's Carrie Reif. For those who have not gotten to meet yet, it's nice to meet you today. I am a member of the nominating committee, and I'm pleased to get to make the recommendations this year. We wish first to extend our heartfelt gratitude to Betsy Plume and Kristen McDevitt. They are outgoing members who have ended their committed service for this year, and we gained so much knowledge from their leadership, and they really brought us to where we are today. So, Betsy and Kristen, thank you so much. Okay, with that being said, we are pleased to announce we have 3 new board members for this year. First, we have Alan Scholl. Alan is slotted to be on the board for 1 year of service due to a board vacancy. Then we have Kevin Donahue, who is going to be on the board for 3 years. And then we have Lloyd Cole, who's going to be on the board for 3 years. And then for nominating committee, we have Deirdre Gordon, who will be on the board for, will be on the committee for 3 years. So we have a husband and wife both committed for service. Thank you, thank you. And we have Kathy Hirsch, who committed to nominating committee for 3 years. So we are grateful for their commitment to the church and look forward to the next few years of their leadership. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Do you all have a slide of the nominees back there? So for each of the 3 votes that we're going to have today, we're going to have discussion beforehand. And let me just frame some guidance on the discussion in the interest of our friends. Keep your remarks succinct. Once you've spoken on an issue, listen to other people. Don't pop back up. Speak on the issue being considered and add something to the conversation if you're going to raise your hand. So, is there any discussion on the nominees? And there are ushers with microphones if anyone has a point to discuss. Okay, I don't see any discussion. Then we'll have a voice vote, either yay or nay. So all in favor of the nominees say yay. Yay. All opposed, nay. The nominations are all approved unanimously. Thank you. Thank you all. That's terrific. Now to talk about, introduce our budget, Marlise Singh.
Thank you. Good morning. Okay. So let's jump right in and talk about the budget for the coming church year. And here's the first slide. This chart shows you the big picture of how we are allocating our total expenses of 1.3 million, big number, over the 4 ministries to achieve our mission next year. If you have seen this chart before when I come to you during the mid-year town hall talks, and if you're remembering the chart, maybe from then you can see that there's a big change at this point, and that is that the share of social justice ministry has grown a lot. And of course, you know, this is because Reverend Lisa has joined us, and we are positioned to do more work in that ministry. The Social Justice Director will help our justice teams coordinate activities, partnership, activity, and advocacy, and increase our outreach into the wider community. I just want to say that I have come to this church for 20 years, and it seems to me almost like, you know, this is the moment that we have all been waiting for. Next slide, please. And now I want to focus on some of the key expense items that I think you might want to hear more about. Our mission and the objectives for the year lay down the general framework for the budget. And within that framework, it is usually the personnel expense and the pledge revenue that are the main drivers that bring us to where the numbers end up. So this year we are planning personnel expenses of about $960,000, and you can see that is about 3/4 of the total budget. It's an increase over last year of 13%. That's an increase that includes a cost of living adjustment for all the existing staff of 2%. It includes the increased costs of health insurance and other insurance coverage, and the new position of the Social Justice Director. All of these positions follow the UUA's fair compensation guidelines. The budget also contains a contribution to the UUA's annual fund, and it is this year 65% of the requested amount. The reasoning behind this is that at this time, we need to redirect some of these funds to our own justice work here at MLUC. We are still making a considerable contribution to the UUA, but it is not the full requested amount. Looking at the budget for buildings and grounds, $160,000, there were increases in almost every line item for that category. Our buildings and grounds and finance committees are looking at all of those issues and see that we have comprehensive coverage and sustainable solutions in place. And administration expenses. Administration used to be office supplies, but the amount that we are spending here is almost entirely technology. I just wanted to explain that to you. It is information technology, for instance, all of the software that we're using, accounting software, pledge maintenance software, other software in the office, And then there's communication technology. Everything with our Wi-Fi and the media and uploading videos to YouTube and sending out emails and the website, networking, social media, of course. And then the plain old-fashioned communications with telephone and mail. We are trying to use all of these technologies to our best advantage, and they're really getting more and more important for us. That's why you see it's a fairly big increase in the expenses. Next slide, please. Okay, and you have seen this pie chart before also. I just want to show you how we are counting on a wide variety of pledge and other income sources to meet our goal. And the pledges still make up the biggest, the most important share of our income, almost 60%. But we have, over the past not over many years, we have always tried to identify new sources of revenue and to spread, diversify as much as we can. And so you see there are other sources, like we have the Sunday offering, of course. Interesting, by the way, how once we started sharing that Sunday offering, it suddenly went way up. Then there are donations, rentals. Rentals include the rooms and facilities here in the building, the parsonage, and the St. David's Nursery School. Then there's the auction. And this year for the auction, we have set a slightly smaller goal of $40,000, not the $50,000 that we've been getting in as income over the past few years, because we just want to refocus a little bit on acknowledging that the auction is one of our main community events. It's one of the main times that we all get together, so we don't want to kind of throttle that event with the demand that so much money has to be raised. I mean, if we raise more money, that's wonderful, but it doesn't have to be the focus of the event. Then we have the endowment, and we are planning to withdraw 5%, a share of the investment income of the endowment again. And for next year, that 5% is going to be $130,000. The endowment has grown a lot over time, and that's what enables us to count on it more and more as a source of income. The last category, other revenue. Other is partly the interest that we are earning on our money market account that we use for operations. And this coming year, it is also a big chunk of the employee retention tax credit that we had received, for the times during the pandemic. And we are also planning to use $78,000 from the Innovation Fund as seed money to support the position of the Social Justice Director. And while I was writing my little notes here, it occurred to me that I'm talking about the Social Justice Director with every slide. And I mean, it is certainly a serious amount of money, a full-time position, but I think it is much more than that. It is the most visible expression of how our mission this year has kind of repositioned where we are going with the budget. It's a big change. Next slide, please. Okay, and here are the last key numbers that I want to talk about. So the projected pledge revenue is $750,000. Now you heard Barbara say we are at 744 pledges received already, so that figure is very conservative. This is very realistic. And it's a great success that we have come so far, but you can still see that the increase of 5% over last year is not as big as the increase in most of our expense categories. So as a result, you can see that the total revenue that we are hoping to get is still less than the total expenses that we are planning to invest. And so there's a net income shortfall of about $40,000. And now I'm getting to the part where I get to explain why the board and I feel confident that we can do this. There are several aspects to that. I mean, in the short run, we are going to do an in-depth look at various categories of our expenses and making sure that we have everything, optimally straightened out. And the stewardship committee, like Barbara already said, is going to look at changing stewardship strategies and working with a fundraising consultant. The main thing, though, that I am thinking about when I see this deficit comes from looking at MLUC's assets and liabilities overall. And you might remember that over the past few years, every time when I presented a budget, I was talking about how we were in developmental ministry, and we had built up a bit of a cash reserve after the pandemic, and so it was important during developmental ministry to invest this cash reserve to carry that ministry forward. And so each year I came here and I said, we're planning a deficit of this much or that much, and it's coming from the cash reserve. And as things turned out, each of those years, in the end, we never spent quite as much as we had thought. So we've been rolling this cash reserve forward and forward. And the last time I looked at it, yesterday, my estimate is that when we start the new fiscal year in July, we will start with about $450,000 in cash. And that is about 4 months of expenses. That is more than what our target is. So I feel really comfortable at this point to say that we can cover this deficit with our cash reserve if we choose to do that. In addition, I would like to look at all the other assets that we have. We have this building, and we have invested, over the last few years, we have invested a lot in this building, so the value of the building has increased. Our endowment fund has grown. It is over $3 million at this point. It's growing with the investment income, but also with occasional donations, and most of all through bequests that we receive through the Legacy Circle. And one more thing, we don't carry any debt. So we are in a very solid position with the cash, with our assets, and with no debts that we have to worry about. Instead, I think we are at a pivotal moment here in our developmental ministry. We have laid groundwork for a couple of years, and we are now positioned with the staff and with the money to just go ahead and do that. And so I hope all of you will agree and help us move ahead with this budget. Thank you.
Can you just stand aside in case there are questions? Thank you, Marlise. I especially appreciate how she connected the values with the dollars. So now, this implicitly, we have a motion to approve the budget, but we'll have discussion on whether we should or shouldn't approve the budget. So I invite your comments. If there are questions, Barb and Marlise are here to answer specific questions. The ushers have microphones so that friends at home can hear. So I see a hand in the back. Kathy.
I just want to thank Marlise. There's been a lot of thank yous going around, but Marlise, you are a gem, and we are so lucky to have you.
Thank you, Kathy. That was wonderful. Other comments? Okay, anyone ready to vote? We need a motion to vote and then a second. There's a motion back there with Don Walker and a second here. Okay, we'll start with a voice vote, yay or nay. So all in favor of approving the budget, say yay. Yay. All against approving the budget, say nay. The budget is unanimously approved. Good work, everyone. And now Carol Hillman to talk about the covenant. Thank you.
Hello. I'm Carol Hillman. I think everyone knows me, but just in case. Oh, I hate that. All right. About a year and a half ago, the board tasked a group to facilitate the congregation's creation of a right relations covenant. I'm a member of that team, along with Kim Billisbach, Nan Hydrisco, who was not here, Rick McKnight, and Margot Wirt. Will you guys please stand and say hello? Can't thank them enough for their passion and commitment to this work. We started by learning about covenant. I think many of us never really thought about the fact that we are a covenantal religion and congregation. These are not insignificant facts. Indeed, it's pretty powerful. We also researched other congregations' right relations covenants and their journeys. We then decided how we would engage you, the congregation, to create our covenant. Based on our learnings, we settled on an appreciation inquiry methodology. We felt strongly that we needed to hear from as many of you as we could, because after all, this is your covenant, our covenant. Our team didn't make it up, you did. We met with several groups of congregants and community members. About 170 of you participated. Thank you, thank you. Themes developed like generosity, welcoming, honoring, and we heard how much you love MLUC. We also learned in this process how much you are not interested in words on paper. You feel very strongly about how we need to keep this covenant alive and a part of this community. How do we support each other? How do we hold ourselves accountable? I know that our team feels just as strongly as you do, and I believe because of that, the team anyway, individually will be supporting this continuing effort, even though our task here is complete. The board, thank you board, has created policies and procedures to support this covenant and is creating a right relations team to carry the work forward. However, this is not the work of a few. All of us in this community play a role. From your sharings, your words, your stories, the team crafted a covenant, shared it for comment, and finalized the version presented today. We now present this covenant to you, the congregation. With love at the center of all we do, this right relations covenant calls us to be accountable to each other and binds our beloved community. we, as a beloved community, choose to covenant together, believing that keeping these promises to one another will foster our growth as individuals and a congregation and enable us to live out our mission within and outside our walls. Together, we covenant to create and sustain a physical, spiritual, and emotional sanctuary. Together, we covenant to realize fully the value inherent in each person in this beloved community and an understanding that empowers our collective strength. Together, we covenant to hold one another in mutual respect, approaching each other with moral courage and radical hospitality. Together, we covenant to live in a spirit of generosity, service, and support with our friends and those we do not yet know. Together, we covenant to honor one another with grace, compassion, and humility, recognizing that the gifts of our community grow from the world within each of us. Together, we covenant to acknowledge our disagreements, to speak honestly, to listen deeply, and to commit to the work of building right relations.
Thank you, Carol. So now we'll go into a discussion. The question before us is whether to approve or not to approve the proposed covenant that's been developed over these years. The discussion is not about wordsmithing the covenant. That time has passed. And how it gets implemented next year and going forward will be future discussion and a board policy. That's not the topic that we're discussing today. Any discussion of the covenant? John?
I think each of the values.
Oh, wait for a microphone, sorry. So people at home can hear.
First, thank you, Carol, and thank you, committee, and thank you all who contributed. These are wonderful, wonderful values. I do, however, have a question about what the term calls us to be accountable to each other means. Would you please explain?
Many of you have heard this before. I am human, and I recognize that I'm probably going to fall. I'm going to make a mistake. I'm going to speak unkindly. And so being accountable means, one, I recognize that. I be open to hear and listen to the harm that I may have caused, that I take responsibility for reparations and whatever that may look like, and that I remain engaged in coming back to right relations. And so I think the accountability is one for myself when I am the perpetrator of the harm. But on the flip side, it is yet another thing I'm working on personally, but I think we as a community want to do, is when we witness, we can call it out, not necessarily as a means of, or a way to like shun people, but to bring them in and encourage them to be and get back in right relations. Does that answer your question?
Yes, but I think that needs to be said in some more formal way, because shunning is a way that churches have classically disciplined members who have fallen short. And I think this... Shunning is a classic way that congregations and churches of all kinds have used to discipline members who have fallen short. And I hope that that's not the direction that we're heading.
Absolutely not.
So this needs to be said somehow.
And I agree, but I don't know that that's part of the covenant. I think that's part of the policies and procedures that follow. Okay.
Kathy.
I just want to say I've been involved in work like this before. You've done an amazing job writing a document by committee. When it's a committee of the whole, and the whole is 500 people, is almost impossible. And I think you did a wonderful job in your listening sessions, and then trying to take that back to develop a concise, beautifully written covenant. Thank you. And all of you.
Other comment? India, and then
I apologize if this isn't the time for this question. I hear that we're going to do like policies and procedures later. Awesome. What will the process, though, be for establishing the policies and procedures after we vote on and ratify this today?
I guess I'm inclined to have the board communicate that at another point, that's not, that needs to happen, but it's not happening right now. Sue.
Yeah, so following on that, I understand that we're not going to talk about the policies, but I want to hear before I vote on an aspirational covenant that that's in the coming year's work, because I don't think there's teeth behind it if there's no policies behind it. And in the time that I have been a member of this church, I know that there have been communications where assumptions have been made, feelings have been hurt, and there's no place for it to land. And so that I need to know that that's coming, and coming soon.
Thank you. Other comments? Yeah. Here it comes.
Thanks. Holly here. I just wanted to say that it's no shame to make a mistake, and I feel like people often hesitate to apologize when all you have to do is be honest with yourself if you feel like you may have ruffled somebody's feathers, and just say, I'm sorry. You know, people really respond to that. They just want to be acknowledged in that way. And that's one thing I don't think comes across in that one accountability part. And I think the policies might elaborate on that, just to give an ease to the community. Hey, this is a cool thing to be honest and comfortable with being human.
Thank you. Any other comments? Okay, are we ready to vote on the question? Somebody move that we vote, and then second? JB, second? Okay. We'll do a yay and nay oral vote. All in favor of approving the covenant, say yay. Yay. All against approving the covenant, say nay. Nay. Okay, the covenant is approved by oral vote. Thank you all. And we'll acknowledge from the discussion that there is work to follow up, and I think those were good concerns raised, and the board needs to communicate on those in terms of how the implementation happens. So that is the end of our business today. You were very efficient and attentive. So I move for adjournment. Okay, thank you all. Have a good afternoon.
There's a band in the McGinnis room. You don't want to miss these guys. They're great. Go on and check out some Beatles.